All right, numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We are multiplying. It says find the product, so we are multiplying these out. So essentially, we just start, helps if I have the right marker, we just start distributing. Okay? So here we go. And remember, multiply number with number, exponent with variable with variable. So 2 times 2 is 4. And when we multiply x's, we add the exponents. So x squared times x cubed is x to the 5th. Let's do the next one. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th, because 2 plus 2 is 4. Then we'll do the 3x. 2 times 3 is 6. X squared plus x is x to the 3rd. And last but not least, 2x squared times negative 5. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. X times, well, there isn't an x there, so it just kind of carries along. And that is your answer. Okay. Number 5. If we were distributing this, which we can do, we would start with the first one. We would distribute it to all 3. Take the second one, distribute it to all 3. Then take the third one and distribute it to all 3. That's essentially what you got to do. But it can start getting into a nightmare as far as what it all looks like. So what we're going to do instead is I'm going to format it slightly differently. And here's what I mean. You remember back in 3rd grade when you did, 24 times 12, you did 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 2 is 4, then 1 times 4 was 4, 1 times 2 is 2, and then you did add them up down, 8, 8, 2. Do you remember that? If not, don't worry about it. You'll figure it out in a little bit. That's essentially what we're going to do. We're going to line these up and multiply them out that way. So it doesn't matter which one you line up with which. I tend to put my higher exponent on top, but it doesn't really matter. So here we go. Let's line these up. We got 3x squared minus 6x minus 1. And we are going to multiply these out just like we would when we were in 3rd grade. So we'll start with the negative 1, and we'll multiply the negative 1 times all 3 of those. So negative 1 times 25 is negative 25. Negative 1 times negative 10x is positive 10x squared. Negative 1 times negative x to the 4th is negative x to the 4th. Actually, I'm going to back up just a little bit. I'm going to leave a little room here. Sorry if I'm doing something funky. But we are still going to multiply those out. So negative 1 times 25 is negative 25. I'm going to leave a gap right here for the x. Negative 1 times 10x squared is a positive 10x squared. And then again, I'm going to leave a gap for x cubed. Negative 1 times 4, x to the 4th would be negative x to the 4th. And you'll see why in a minute. Okay, so let's do the 6x. Multiply that by all 3. So negative 6x times 25 is negative 125. No, it's not. It's negative 150. So negative 150x. Negative 6 times negative 10x squared is a positive. So negative 6 times negative 10 is positive 60. And x times x squared is x cubed. Again, I'm leaving a space there so that I can combine those. And then last but not least, negative 6x times x to the 4th is negative 6x to the 5th. All right, last but not least, let's do the 3x squared. And this is where it'll start making sense as to why I left those spaces there. Multiply it by the 25, and the negative 10, then the 4, then the x to the 4th. So 3 times 25 is 75. So 75x squared. See how the x squareds line up? We can combine those that way. Negative 3 times negative 10 is negative 30, so that's negative 30. X squared times x squared is x to the 4th. And 3 times 1 is 3, x to the 6th, so 3x to the 6th. And now I have everything lined up and I can just bring them down. So negative 25, negative 150x. So 10 plus 75 is 85 x. Why is it not x? Come on. Come on, Bessie. X, there we go. X squared. There's no cubes to combine it with, so we got a positive 60x cubed. X to the fourth minus 30, so that's negative 31x to the fourth. Negative 6x to the fifth, and 3x to the sixth. Okay? And so this right here on the bottom, let's not use that. Let's use this. This is your answer. All right, now you don't have to use this format. You can do it however you want, but that's your answer. I may go back and change this example next year so we don't have to leave these gaps in there. But I put those in there basically so that I would line the 4s up together, the 2s up together, and the things like that. So it would be easier to look at. All right. Number 6. So we'll do the same thing with this one. Let me erase this a little bit so I can get some space. Hopefully you've already written that part down. So we've got, I'll start here. We're going to multiply x minus 2 times x plus 6. So negative 2 times 6 is negative 12. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then do the x. X times 6 is 6x. And x times x is x squared. And then combine your terms. We got negative 12. Negative 2 plus 6 is positive 4x. And I simply have an x squared. Okay? And then let's do it again. I got to do this one as well. X plus 1. 1 times negative 12 is negative 12. 1 times 4x, that's 4x. 1 times x squared is x squared. And then multiply everything by x. X times negative 12 is negative 12x. X times 4x is 4x squared. And x times x squared is x cubed. And then to combine our terms, which I ran out of room, but I'll just write the answers over here. Negative 12 plus 0, well, that's negative 12. 4x and negative 12x, well, that's negative 8x. X squared and 4x add up to 5x squared. And you just straight up have an x cubed. Let's make that actually look like a 3. How does that sound? Yay, Mr. Hunter can write. All right? Same thing for number 7. If I were you, I'd try number 7 on my own real quick, and we'll go from there. All right, what am I doing? All right, number 7, I'll start with these two. So we've got 2x minus 3 times 6 minus x. I'm just going to flip that around so that I line my x's up this way. So that's negative x plus 6, so I don't screw anything up. 6 times negative 3, that's negative 18. 6 times 2 is 12, so that's 12x. Negative x times negative 3 is positive 3x. Negative x times 2 is negative x squared. Negative 2x squared, I'm sorry. Combine my terms. It's negative 18. 12 plus 3 is 15. And then negative 2x squared. All right. Last but not least, I got to multiply this one in as well. So instead of 4 minus 5x, I'm just going to switch the terms again. It's negative 5x. And if you're flabbergasted at the fact that you're sitting there going, we can do that? The answer is yes, you can switch your terms. You should have known that by now, but oh well. Got to start somewhere. All right, so 4 times negative 18. 4 times 8, 32 plus 40. That's 72? Yep, negative 72. What on earth was that? 4 times 15, that's 15, 30, 60. So that's 60x. 4 times 2, that's 8, so negative 8x squared. Let's do the next one. Negative 5x times 18, 18 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40, plus 50 is 90. That's actually a positive right there. So plus 90x. Negative 5x times 15. Instead of 60, that's 75. So minus 75x squared. And then negative 5 times negative 2 is positive 10. 10x cubed. And we'll add up our terms. That's 10x cubed. Negative 8 minus 75 is negative 83. 60 plus 90, what? 9 plus 6 is 15. I'm losing my mind over here. 150x minus 72. And hopefully you're starting to realize this isn't necessarily difficult. It is tedious. I understand that. There's a lot to look at. It's easy to make a mistake, and it just snowballs real quick. If you make one mistake on this, it snowballs real fast. But it's not necessarily difficult. All right. Number 8. I almost forgot 8 and 9 were down here, but we'll do them real quick. Number 8, because it's just a binomial times a binomial, I am just going to do it this way. Distribute that one, distribute that one. All right. So 3y times 3y is 9y squared. 3y times 8. 3 times 8 is 24, so plus 24y. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24y squared. Oh, look, those two cancel out. And negative 8 times positive 8 is negative 64. So those turn to 0. So my final answer is 9y squared minus 64. And again, you can do it that way with the other ones if you want. Just, it's really easy to come up with a, you know, this plus this plus this minus this plus this plus this plus this, and you just got to add all those up, and it's really, really easy to lose track of what's going on. All right, number 9. Burn through that real quick. Same idea. This one is this cubed, so you have to do it 3 times. You got 3 of them up there. So we got 2v minus 1 times 2v minus 1. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 1 times 2v is negative 2v. Now do the 2v. 2v times negative 1 is negative 2v. And 2v times 2v. 2 times 2 is 4. v times v is v squared. So 4v squared minus 4v plus 1. All right, but it's cubed, so we got to do it again. So here we go. 2v minus 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. Negative 1 times positive 4 is negative 4v squared. Then do it with 2. 2 times 1 is 2, so 2v or not 2v. Sorry, horrible joke. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8, so negative 8v squared. 2 times 4 is 8, again, so positive 8v to the third. Draw your line, bring them down. So negative 1, 4 plus 2 is 6, so positive 6v. Negative 4, negative 8, that's negative 12, negative 12v squared. And then last but not least, 8v cubed. All said and done.